tuning in and tuning out. Human beings are tuned into their habitual reality most of the time. But if you turn your tuner only slightly, the world appears different. For example, you don't like the people at a party, but after some alcohol, you love them all. And then, the next morning, you can't imagine ever having loved them. What changed? Did they change? No, not at all. The tuning, your frequency, your focus changed. Or normally you can't stand the rain, but then one day you fall in love with someone, and then the rain seems to be the most cozy, the most romantic thing you can imagine. Or you become an umbrella salesman, and then the rain you hated so much becomes your blessing. So tuning your dial, your frequency dial, if your slightly altered focus became your habitual focus, your dominant focus, your normal focus, then the world would start to appear that way to you, and you'd have successfully changed your reality to better or worse. You experience the reality you are focused on. You can experience other realities either by focusing on something else, or by focusing differently. Likewise, a camera can be turned somewhere else, or it can be focused or tuned differently. You can have a close-up shot, a wide shot, blurred or sharp, or even add different filters. Many people phase in and out of different realities or ways of focusing without even knowing it. So they don't know whether they are present in physical here now reality or off somewhere else, daydreaming. With a radio dial, it's easy to stay tuned into one frequency. The dial does not move by itself. The only way we can keep our mental focus dial from moving is through conscious will, conscious awareness, conscious intention. Usually, if your thoughts stray too far away from home base, if your actions and experience stray too far away from your habitual focus, from the familiar, then you use your will to bring your focus back. You use your will to maintain a semblance of familiarity, familiar reality. Indoctrination through schooling and parents is all about training your focus so that you can participate in our so-called shared reality or consensus reality in a civilized and kind or respectful manner. Of course, some people experience a parental training that is too restrictive. They then rebel against their parents and against the world by extension by focusing on the exact opposite, or by not having any focus at all. If as a child you were forced to focus in a certain direction for some time, and you care about developing your own will, you will focus differently once you leave your parents' home, or even sooner. Much of our focus is automatic, almost instinctive. And this is why our reality doesn't radically change from day to day. And for some people, that's a blessing, and for others, not so much. In this audio, I'd like to talk about tuning in and out of a state that I call presence or clear. The state of presence or the state of clear goes along with a heightened sense of aliveness and the feeling that you largely control your life. But most people drift in and out of it many times a day, many times a week, many times throughout their life. If you imagine your life as a radio dial, it would sound like you're tuning into a station briefly, then going into static. Then you pick up another station, maybe vaguely, then static, and then another vague station where you can't hear the music properly because it's overpowered by the static, and so forth. Now, the state of presence is like being so fully tuned into one radio station that there's no static at all. The sound is crisp and clear. You know, life is actually more difficult when you can't get tuned into any one station fully. If your life is chaotic, then you've forgotten what a clear reception is. Many people are still able to operate in their daily life, even if they are not fully present with it, even if they're not focused. This is because of habit. So they are operating out of habit instead of presence. It's more automatic, more going through the motions, more based on what was done yesterday than looking anew what is of interest today. Think about what I just said, please. So, since you're familiar with certain actions, objects, people, ideas, etc., you can get by for a while, even though you're not as present and aware as you could be. This is why subjecting yourself to unfamiliar situations can feel so exhilarating, or for some people scary, because in the unfamiliar, you can't rely on habits, on familiar energies. You need to wake up and deal with what is in front of you. That's why I don't believe people should hold the same job or live at the same place their entire life, or even just 10 years. I sometimes say, how aware would you be if you were locked in a dark room with a poisonous snake, say for 10 minutes? The room is dark, you know that somewhere in the room there's a poisonous snake, and you don't know where the furniture is. It's completely dark. How aware would you be? And that's what I mean by presence. You would be so fully there because you wish to survive naturally. So you'd listen to every movement. You'd probably not move yourself. You'd keep still just so you can hear everything, feel everything, maybe even see some motion in the darkness. Get a sense of that. So the presence I'm talking about can also be done without the danger, without the fear, without the poisonous snake, of course. Can you keep that presence without the fear, without the danger? Can you have that fully awake state without danger? That's the question. So you're at ease, emotionally at ease. You're not on alert, but you're still present. You're present, but not tense. You're awake, but not alert. Does that make sense? Now, shifting attention, tuning into a different frequency, it either feels liberating or it feels like adding clutter to your life that you don't need. It feels liberating when you can tune the dial and get a full and clear reception of the other reality while the previous habitual one goes into the background. And it feels like clutter if you can't tune in fully and your tuner moves in between stations and static. You know that many of my exercises involve moving back and forth between different ideas so that you learn to tune in and tune out. And now you know why. But the most important thing you can learn to do is to move back and forth between the physical here now reality and other ideas. So instead of dulling your senses with alcohol, pharmaceuticals, and entertainment, you can learn to feel present and at ease most of the time through the tuning in and tuning out exercise that I will teach you today. Okay, let's start. Bring all of your awareness into the present. By simply being aware of some of the things happening in your present. There are things to see, things to hear, things to feel, things to smell in your present. At this point, make no effort to relax. Instead, stay awake and aware. And instead of focusing on one particular object, perceive your entire field of vision at the same time. Be aware of all sounds at the same time. Be aware of how the chair you're sitting on feels. How does it feel against the body? And if you'd like to be even more aware, does it feel different at different body parts? And the sounds you're hearing, what objects cause them? What life forms cause them? Link objects and sounds, life forms and sounds. Regardless of whether you see the source of the sounds. Be also aware of the terrain in your surroundings, the soil and vegetation, as well as the furniture, and the kind of building you're in, if you are. And also be aware of the temperature, so much to be aware of. So much happening just on this one frequency if you properly tune in. And if you want to tune in even more strongly, what are the variations in temperature? For example, your hands might be warm and your feet might be cold. Or the breeze may be cool but the sun warm. Is there something you can smell? Is there a taste in your mouth? What do you see in the periphery of your vision, slightly to the right and to the left, where vision starts to blur? Can you include all of this as if it were one thing, one unified field, one frequency, one tuned dial? Because now you have clear reception and you are tuned into one frequency. Do you know that doing this is immensely good for you, healthy? It's good to become fully present, to bring all of yourselves together, all of your power into the present. It's good to do this before important meetings. It's good to do this with important projects. Don't always let everything go on automatic for too long. Bring your consciousness into things if you want them to be better. You can tell if a company has gone on automatic for too long because it begins declining. There's no longer a person present who brings their conscious awareness, their creativity into the company. And then it starts going down. That's what happens. Consciousness is life-giving. It's good to become fully present before or after consciousness-altering work, especially, such as meditation or prayer or humming or singing or acting. What people really mean when they say, I'm going to work, is that they are tuning into one frequency exclusively. And then they get upset if they can't focus on the task they intended to focus on. There's too much scattered tuning, too much distraction. Inability to focus comes from various factors. One of them is weak will, untrained presence, like we're training now. But it can also come from negative beliefs, such as I should work more, or I should work less, or I should have been done by now, or my time is running out. It can also be related to depletion of energy, lack of good nutrition, lack of physical fitness. Those things can cause lack of focus, lack of presence. Overweight can cause lack of presence because there's a constant preoccupation and burden with the body. Past trauma can cause lack of presence, lack of tuning in to one frequency, because past trauma sends a constant signal of unresolved distress from the subconscious, making it difficult to tune in to present time fully. And even if you do tune in fully, it costs a lot of effort. But all of that clears, heals, disappears if you can train the state of clear, train presence. Know this, either you are in static or you are in clear. I give you this analogy so that you can tell the difference in daily life. How many things do you allow to clutter your clear view, your clear focus? Do you allow your web browser to give you the latest news, filling it with clutter? Do you allow yourself to browse on social media too long, making your mind full of clutter, totally unfocused? Actually, my entire speech of the last few minutes took you away from presence. That was intentional. And you probably didn't even notice. So let's get back to presence. Let's tune back in and be aware of everything you see, feel, and hear all at once. Soften your attention, expand awareness, and include any sensation, object, sound. Also include things you may have ignored, so that they too are in your conscious focus, your conscious awareness. Now, last time you tuned out, you checked out because I was brabbling on and on. This time, let's tune out consciously. Consciously let go of your focus, let go of your clarity, let go of your present time awareness. Soften up and relax. Let your gaze become softer. You are unfocusing. You are no longer seeing everything at once, no longer focused on anything in particular. You're no longer connecting the sounds you hear to any source life forms or source objects. Let go of your interest in the present. Drop the whole package as if it were one unified thing. And now, tune in to only one sound. Choose one sound that you hear at the exclusion of all other things. Choose one sound, close your eyes, focus on it. You've tuned out of the present because you're only involved with one aspect of reality, one aspect of the present. And that's not being entirely present. It's somewhat present because at least you're dealing with something in the present, but not entirely. It's similar to when you're working, you're not entirely present. You're in a trance because you're only focused on one aspect of the present, which is your work. So focus on that one sound. Where does it seem to come from? Where is it going? And now, snap back into presence. Bring your whole awareness back to all things around you. Open your eyes. Bring your entire self and perceptions into one unified field containing all things present. Be fully here, fully clear, fully tuned. And then once again, begin letting go and unfocusing. Lose yourself in some fantasy. Imagine something. Something that is not present, maybe never was. Fantasize. You're becoming unpresent, unfocused, intentionally losing yourself in a fantasy. Try tuning into the fantasy more. To get a clear picture, a clear sound, clear feeling, maybe even taste and smell. Of course, being able to feel the fantasy, experience the fantasy as if it were present moment, actually tends to manifest the fantasy if it is within the vicinity of what you're habitually vibrating. And then once again, tune back into present reality completely until the imagined thing, the fantasy, recedes into the background is only an after effect, overpowered by total presence in the now. Become interested in the now. What is here? What is now? You see, we're tuning in and out of the present. What do you taste? What do you sense? What do you feel? What do you hear in the present? And then once again, unfocus, let go, and lose yourself in a negative memory, an unwanted thing or event. Do you know that every time you're upset in daily life, you're never upset about the present, but rather triggered by something within? You make things mean what they mean, and the meaning you ascribe to events makes them feel upsetting or not. So make this memory so intense that you completely lose touch to the here and now. And now work your way back to presence, becoming fully aware of your surroundings, the temperature, the terrain, the materials, the smell. You'll have noticed how your feeling improves from being focused on the negative memory to becoming fully present. And now that you are fully present, once again close your eyes and unfocus. Let go. Let go of presence. No specific focus. No specific frequency. No radio station. You're just drifting. Static. Picking up anything at random. And then return back to focus, back to clear, back to present, away from static. Thank you. If you learn how to become fully present and also how to shift frequencies, it'll very much enrich your normal daily life experience and your sense of aliveness and power.